O, to z kolei ja sobie mówię, to za
Hello everybody, welcome to this first Jona class. This idea came 2 years ago when me and Predrag was admitted to summer school, and we are glad that Moderator, Nato, thank you very much for being here with us. This is our pleasure. I would like also to thank our speakers that they get from their busy schedules and that they are here now with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mariya. Dear all, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all this weekend, as well as to have this opportunity to discuss about important and in fact crucial topic in Balkan region, with such an expert as you are indeed. Before I continue, I would like first accepting our invitations. It was a tough period, I know. However, we all managed to make schedules and move forward, as well as additionally, I would like, without any further ado, the main aim of the following workshop is to encourage cyber defense in the Balkan region. Such an idea has been developed due to less utilization of the banking, as well as we have now tender auctions are happening online, utilization of the government and the public and private. Moreover, we cannot ignore that actually the houses are becoming actually interconnected at the same time. We share information without knowing what and indeed with whom. In addition to the vulnerability, different stakeholders are taking and discussing 3 days topics, which are of important meaning of security and defending cyberspace. Then, the first day, we'll talk about cyber security awareness program in Balkans and the rest of the world. Second day, we will continue with incoming cyber threats in the Balkans, followed by the Baltic approach, as well as cyber security defense league. Moreover, then we will discuss the importance of creating and developing cyber security strategies and frameworks. Last discussion of the day will be technical and human factor challenges for social engineering and, of course, the advanced persistent threats. Last but not least, the third day will highlight the importance of CERT and critical emergency response team. Within real challenges faced from countries which already have implemented such agency, so this will benefit to the countries which do not have this agency. And finally, we will discuss about the cyber defense, hybrid war, and cyber espionage. For each topic, speakers will have 1 hour to answer the audience and 15 minutes Q&A discussion session. Whereas second day, we will highlight the remarks of the day, and on the last day, we will close the workshop with the final and closing remarks. What is actually the outcome? And it is my great pleasure to address to our honorable guests. On our right side is Mr. Andrew, which is a regional security officer from USA Embassy here in Skopje. And on the other, on the left side is Mr. Nato, who is the Director for Security of Classified Information of the Republic of Macedonia. So welcome you all, and we would like to hear from Mr. Andrew. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us and for inviting me. It's a real pleasure to be here and to represent the United States Embassy here. It's certainly an important topic, and I don't think I need to convince anybody that cyber defense and cybersecurity is important. You come, and I think that you know that. But I do think that when raising awareness is the topic of your workshop, that it is a challenge. And I'll just kind of introduce myself briefly. So I'm the Regional Security Officer at the U.S. Embassy. I'm also a Special Agent at the U.S. Department of State, so I'm an active duty police officer. And we police officers never write an original report. We always steal something from the guy that's done it before. So what I've done in crafting my remarks is just take things that other smarter people have said and compile that together into something that I hope you'll find worthwhile. When I attended a cyber forum in London, our U.S. ambassador, Matthew Barjoon, said he wrote the word cyber on the board, and he pointed out something that I always felt, but hadn't heard verbalized before, that when you bring up the word cyber, most people, maybe not you people, but maybe some of you, but most people feel two things. They feel nervous and stupid. And that's for good reason, because the cyber world, cyber as a topic, is it makes you feel nervous because it's important. Cyber is the computers are in everything. They do a lot of things. It makes you feel stupid because most of us don't understand how it actually works, and that's okay. You're allowed to be a player in the cyber game if you don't understand every nut and bolt. But you can't feel stupid because it is a very complicated topic. That's a challenge for you. When you're working in the cyber realm, if your task is to raise cyber awareness, because people are going to feel that way, whether you do or not. And if you do, it's okay. You can still participate and be a player and take part in this forum and have a great time. But if you're one of the people that doesn't feel that way when you hear the word cyber, you need to understand what people do. And when you are raising their awareness that it is important, you need to be able to address that in a way that they can understand. And Albert Einstein said that if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it yourself. This person's much smarter than him. And so I just encourage you to, put it down in 6-year-old terms, because that one, you'll prove to yourself that you understand it, but two, you'll help people to understand, what's important to them. Two, when talking about defense or security, I think it's important to realize that it's really about risk management and not risk elimination. I'd like to quote Helen Keller, who is a blind and deaf woman, very important author in the United States. And she said that security is mostly a superstition. It does not exist in nature. I really think that she had unique insight into that. So if I'm working in the regular security realm, maybe not cyber, but I'm building a fence around a building. Okay, I'm not going to keep out a fighter jet, but I should be able to keep out a vagrant. You have to make decisions about what your risk management is. And it's the same way in the cyber realm. You have to make decisions about your risk tolerance and your risk management. You will never be completely secure on this earth. It doesn't exist. We were just talking to a colleague earlier about ISIL or different threats. You could manage all of that and then get hit by a bus on your way home, because security does not exist in this world. So it's about managing the risk that you have, and that's certainly true in the cyber world as well. And so realizing that, and realizing that how much you do and don't know can really help in raising awareness of cyber defense. So again, thank you for the opportunity to be here. And lastly, just want to encourage you. Thank you for coming, and thank you for your interest and participation and support here. Thank you.
It would seem like a lot of thanks, but I would also like to thank the organizers for the opportunity to be here in front of this audience and to say a few words from our domain of work, which I hope you will find interesting, and you will continue to follow this conference with great interest. First of all, I would like to say that it has been evident that the digital revolution has been gaining ground since the last 20-30 years. And the modern world has not been immune to those changes. Also, the public administration does no longer rely exclusively on the traditional channels of service delivery or information transmission or data transmission, but it considers the internet as indispensable for reaching out to the general public and to all the colleagues you work with. So, to allow the citizens to realize the benefits of this digital infrastructures and this digital modern world, we have to make sure that those digital infrastructures must function reliably and securely. So it should therefore be a top priority for all the components of the national security sector that all this cyberspace which we are using is safe and secure, not only at the national but also at the international level. The field or my institution, the Directorate for Security of Classified Information, is leading the charge against cyber threats and challenges or risks or vulnerabilities. Each one of them explains the problem. Is the field of the protection of classified information. As an integral component in the acquiring of complete protection of classified information is our InfoSec department, that's for Information Security Department, which is responsible for the cybersecurity of classified information. Throughout its work, our InfoSec department undertakes several measures and activities concerning the protection of classified information and creating a safe and secure environment for sharing, for transmission, and for generally using all classified information. So that the primary concerns of the protection of classified information on the cyber level for the Directorate for Security of Classified Information is the certification of the communication and information systems and processes which are being used in the process of using those classified information. Of course, the assessment for possible breaches of security of the communication and information systems, and two of the components which are mostly used to protect data leakages and to protect security breaches is the cryptographic protection of communication and the production of crypto keys and other crypto material. And the other one is the determination of zones and rooms which are protected from compromising electromagnetic emissions. Our directorate has been constantly developing its capacity and its capacity for cybersecurity, and it still remains a strong partner in establishing the strategy for cybersecurity on several levels, as of course it should be. It is included in strategic levels, so in the formation of the documents which are concerning the cybersecurity. It is also included in the operational level through its verification and accreditation of communication information systems which are already in use in the other security institutions or private components or in the other critical infrastructure objects. And on the executive level, because it itself is the main coordinator and the main user of those communication information systems. I would like to point here that it has been also, we have also managed to implement all the NATO and EU security directives and standards on the national level too, including the procedures which are concerning all the four components of information security. So those four components are computer security, emission security, cryptographic security, and of course communication security. So at the end, I would strongly like to emphasize the need for the adoption of the document at the highest level, where the basic principles and guidelines for cybersecurity will be defined. We all have to be well know that it would take a very comprehensive approach from all the institutions that are forming the security sector, but I think it surely worth these efforts, and the result from this document will be a safer and a stronger cyber environment for which all the state and all the private components can use and be absolutely confident when they're using it, it is secure and safe. I wouldn't like to go into details for the InfoSec part. I would leave that to my colleague, which is in the first, in the next panel. So I think that would be the best approach for now. So thanks.
Thank you for the speakers. Thank you for the opening remarks. And now, because we have finished before, and so we suggested to go on the coffee break, and of course we can meet each other, we can discuss, and it's a great timing and great pleasure to do a networking at the moment. Thank you all for coming. Sorry, one more remark, just a quick note. For those who have invitation for welcoming dinner, it's actually in the other restaurant. It's an old house. It's a very nice house. It's outside of the old town, but no worries, we will provide you people that will help you and lead you where to go. As well as we have in the logistical information, we have the map as well, but no worries, we will be able to manage it all together. And it's starting around 8:30. Yes. Everyone, yeah. At 8, everyone shall be in front of the hotel, and then we'll go all together. Yeah.
A nie na kogo, pauza, na kogo.
Yes. Yes, of course, please.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, I'll do the same. The presentation in folder or just that?
Oh, you can put them in folder.
There you go.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. It was lovely.
Imamo še jedan govornik od Jona plus Valentine ima še jedno panel.
Da.
Tako je zima odmorali.
So you have 10 minutes.
Yes.
Come on, I have material for at least 3 hours. Don't do that to me. You know where I come from. You know, you're not a keynote.
That's why I say 10. You speak for 12
Yes.
They're not modest as well.
So the art is to make it short.
That's why I say 10 and then he will speak 20. I know the mentality.
No, you don't know.
It was a good remark, actually.
Here you have you will elaborate on the Jona. And Oh, you're the guy with the hat. I know the hat because I'm also a member of presidency of ATA with Milan and Jona. Oh, really? So I'm back in Similar Rangers and some photos. I know they were all. That's how I know about. I know about who we had.
No, the one that was forgotten was Indeed. We can do whatever you want.
Oh, you can tell. Oh. I haven't seen him for a while because we are just meet all the time, like going from one side to another. I was actually in Petnica, and Kaja invited me for all this, but it was a problematic work, but it's just, yeah. Because it was like overlapping. I was coming from Serbia, I was supposed to come immediately.
Все е готово. Добре. Много добре. Също така
И ако можно нови чаши, да. 5 чаши. Там. Не съм спирал.
Той Предраг я спря. Въпросът е, че искам да я посна във Фейсбук, за да си гледа който иска на живо.
И той? Някакъв ще му е много лошо.
Много объркам да ви разваля нещата.
To się śmiała pożegnać. To jest nie.
The rest is because that was a very
Because the three keys are not the but the three keys are
no, it is
just actually, in the meantime, everything was standardized in the industrial time. So you have this technology. We're back to the same
yeah. And one day who was just shifting the viewpoint from where they are what you mean.
Good afternoon. We're starting a bit earlier. That's not typical for the Balkan, but we're obviously obtaining new standards, and that's a good sign, yes. Welcome again. I'm Vesna. I'm your moderator for this session. Thank you, Predrag and Mariya, for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here and to address you today on the panel that is actually dedicated on awareness. And that's fascinating because I believe that cyber awareness is something that is crucial for the cyber security itself. That's the first very basic step. And Skopje is actually the best place to work on that issue because in accordance with the last information I get, we are lacking cyber strategy, we are lacking CERT unit, and many other things. And this actually goes contrary to the global trends because, for example, in the USA, they have a tradition of cyber security awareness month, and they had the 11th, I believe, anniversary last year in October. Yeah. And it's different for every other country in the region, and it depends on the continent, also on the culture. However, it's extremely important because most part of our life is actually going online. We live mostly online and not offline. We will now try to set up the offline platform for the online living we have in order to make our online life more secure and better, I guess. So today we have pleasure to have 4 speakers with different education and professional background, but all of them very special and very experienced, and very, very happy and very excited to hear all of them. I believe that we will go first of all with Jona. Jona is our guest speaker from Albania. She's expert for Albanian search. Then we will give floor to Milan. Milan is working for the Geneva Center for Democratic Control of Armed Forces. And generally, he has been dedicated to security sector reform for the last 10 years. And then we will go with Valentina. She's from the Directorate for Security of Classified Information, and she has a long experience. As she told me, she has a CV of making awareness. So she will share her experience with us, and then we'll finish with Predrag, who is special for many things, but the best thing is for this session is his thesis from Estonia, dedicated on cybersecurity awareness exactly.
Fine, correct.
Yes.
So the floor is yours. Each speaker has 10 to 15 minutes, but really 10 to 15 minutes about the one, and then we'll have a question and answer session. Thank you.
Yes, of course. You can start in a couple of minutes. It's recognizing its windows and so. It's installing the device.
Having the cyber issues on such session is not actually the best recommendation for all of us. Yes, it works on bottom line. Yeah, it's here. Okay.
Just a second. Yeah. We'll do technically, don't worry.
Okay.
You can start all this.
Okay, thank you. Well, hello everyone. As I was previously introduced, my name is Jona JOSIFI. I'm working as an expert in the National Agency for Cybersecurity. I'll try to explain the Albanian CERT part of that name. I'm very glad to be here, as many thanks to the organizers for having such a meeting. I will, next please.
Yes.
I will try shortly to enhance some issues and explain what's going on in Albania in terms of awareness and the CERT and the agency role. Well, it all started with Albania ratifying the Convention on Cybercrime in 2001 and also adopting it in the penal code just one year later. That happened, of course, with the additional protocol of that. So that was a necessity to build up a cybercrime unit in the Albanian state police, which was the first one dedicated in cyber in our administration. Then we had the cybercrime part included, but cybersecurity, it was still not mentioned until late of 2011, when the National Agency for Cybersecurity was created under the ALCIRT in November 2011, under the Prime Minister authority, since it had to cover all the constituency and reach each ministry and sub-institutions as well. It was created as a small team, as you can see, and that's still like that. Next, please. Well, the National Agency for Cybersecurity, the Albanian CERT, is actually not the explanation of the CERT, or at least not only, because on the Euro, it has to also act as a CERT, which is prevention, detection, and response to cyber. I believe that my colleague for in the days to come, as well from the ALCIRT, will try to explain somehow what's going on and how we plan to organize that part of the agency, of course. And it has also many other responsibilities, which are those of an agency, actually. That is cooperation in developing programs and procedures, as well as controlling and monitoring its implementation in the public sector, of course. The National Agency for Cybersecurity also is the primary point of contact for Albania. It has also signed the MOU with NATO as well. In terms of cyber, and is also the focal point of contact also with NISA and other CERTs around the region. Participation in preparation of legal issues, which is also not only legal issues, but as well as national strategies and policy paper in cybersecurity, which is one of our engagements since late 2013. I will turn back to that again. And is also awareness. It is the last, but it's not the least of the responsibilities of the agency, and we've tried to enforce that last 2 years. I try to arrange the presentation in three main areas. In relation to the public sector, that is, from December 2013, we are working on the first cybersecurity policy paper. There was no such document before in Albania, and we try to involve all the relevant parties, which is security agencies and everyone that we could. Of course, we try to focus on the main issues and set up the baseline for what we needed, which is the completion of the legal framework. That is one of our initiatives. We are actually drafting a law on cybersecurity, awareness raising, capacity building, trying to put on some baseline requirements. We're not trying to have a standard, but some baseline which we plan to control, at least to have that in place. Identification of critical information infrastructure, as well as strengthening partnership both nationally and internationally. We aim to a safer, more reliable, and more sustainable cybersecurity, cyberspace for everyone. That is the aim of this document. To try and force, or at least is not covered by our constituency, we try to reach in the public sector many actors. But that is the National Authority for Electronic and Postal Communications, which through that authority we're trying to go to ISPs, not directly but indirectly, to the Commissioner for Personal Data Protection, try to have the incidents that involve personal data from this authority, and of course the Albanian State Police, which regards the cybercrime unit. Capacity building, as I mentioned before, was one of our main concerns. So we tried to cooperate with that, with the Albanian School for Public Administration, and have first course for all IT employees in the public administration, trying to do that in around for each month, so everyone could have the chance and also the obligation to participate in such training. We are now planning for 2015, actually starting next week, for another more advanced course, still aiming the same audience. As regards to the private sector, which is also very important for us, we have reached banks through their security committee. They are really interested in cyber, and that is the only way that we found to try and have as much information as we could from them, and to have them cooperate with us. We have had some Tech Thursdays as well with the ICT companies in our country, using our innovation center, which is also a public and private partnership. And we had, for the first time in Albania, a Cybersecurity Awareness Month last October. So we hope to make that tradition. There are just some awareness materials that we use for Cyber Awareness Month. Also trying to assess and support the agency for digital certification as well. Okay. As well with the private sector, we have an action plan for children, as that is very sensitive for all the actors involved. Many ICT companies, as well as the ICT Private Companies Association, AITA, which is in our country, have signed a code of conduct, which is a way to self-regulate and offer tools from the ISP part and the telecom for trying to avoid and have parental control for harmful content online. So many of them are now doing awareness on such things. Also, providing free mobile applications for parents to control who is calling their child, what are they opening in their browsers, and then everything. So that is just the examples from each operator doing that. That is safe internet for children. That's innovative. Yes, next, please. Next again. Okay, to the general public, that was also one of the issues that the agency has been working upon. We try to reach the students in ICT universities, first in the capital, in Tirana, for 2014, and we will proceed from now on to all universities in the country, try to reach students in this area because they are potential cybersecurity professionals as well as they are current users of ICT, so trying to raise their awareness as well. Following the example of other countries, like besides the e-government portal, which many of you, I think, might also have, we built up a government portal on cybersecurity awareness, which we call Cyber Albania. That is to the general public, but also to the businesses, to home, to cyberbullying, to children, and trying to update that as much as we can. Next, please. Children, again, a sensitive point of, again, a sensitive issue. We believe in education, education, and education. So we reached to the Institute for Development of Curricula in our country and included safe internet as part of the ICT subject from the 6th to the 9th grade. We're also in partnership with the University of Tirana for opening a master program in our country. We don't have any cyber or information security one, which will be introduced this academic year, 2015. Well, we've done some TV show appearances as well during just to promote the Cyber Awareness Month and also the Safe Internet Day and many other activities of the agency. And civil society is actually engaged together with the academia and the private sector. One of the civil society actors, the World Vision Albania, they have done a really good study on that regarding children safe online, which has helped us in some legal recommendations. They try to reach children they ask children, not anyone else, and they have concluded in some real helpful recommendations for us in enhancing our actions. And those are some of the facts, like 45% of them answered that they have faced cyberbullying, and that they are mainly contacted online by unknown people from the US, from Italy, and the United Kingdom, and so on. So we are happy with what we have tried to achieve so far, because that means that things are moving for us, at least, that there is will, and people are also reporting. They actually are doing that even for some Facebook account, but at least that means that they have heard the issue. So we are not trying to be self-satisfied, and we'll try and keep these efforts as more sustainable as we can. So, thank you.
Thank you, Jona. This was, at least for me, a very useful presentation, and I'm very happy that our Albanian colleagues actually did a lot of great job. And your presentation actually shows the importance of the move of the Cyber Awareness Month, that it's our shared responsibility, because actually it's a multi-stakeholder approach that government is success in security. Thank you. So, Milan, please.
Thank you. It is my pleasure to be here, and very thankful to the organizers for the invitation. And as Vesna said, my background is slightly different than maybe a typical background here, and the organization I work for is also coming from different, working from different perspectives. So my background is from security sector reform and also my organization's background. So that would be the angle that my presentation will have. So basically, what I will try to do is to discuss the relevance of cybersecurity for security sector governance in general, and vice versa. I will be using examples from Serbia, since I'm working in Serbia, I'm based in Serbia. And I will describe the importance of citizens' awareness for building credible cybersecurity in line with good security sector governance principles. Thank you. So basically, I know many of you probably know about the organization I work for. Some don't. So DCAF is an international foundation with a mission to assist the international community in pursuing governance and reform of the security sector. Our HQ is in Switzerland, but we have around 150 employees all over the world in several offices. And it's a growing organization. We are engaged with the UN, with the OSCE. What is unique about DCAF is that we do both theoretical research, and we also do provide practical support. We are engaged in many security cooperation initiatives in the region, and we are also specific in supporting dialogue between private sector and the public sector in security issues. So in the initial presentation, Mr. Andrew said that security is an illusion. It's an interesting point, and definitely security is a notion which has been developed over time, and it has evolved, as has the relation between notion of relationship between security and development. So today, security is perceived as something which is more people-centered than it was before. And security sector reform is understood as one of the ongoing development policies of any government. And security sector reform is an internationally agreed way to develop given security sector. So there are two crucial components of good governance in the security sector. Security sector needs to be effective, but it also needs to be accountable. We can't have one without the other and say that we have a good democratic management over the security. So democratic security sector governance is basically a desired goal, which is achieved by the security sector reforms, which are not static. That is a security sector reform is a continuous process, hence the arrow on the slide. Continent states are more or less well equipped for providing security to its citizens when faced with conventional real-life threats. But can the citizens trust state institutions are ensuring their security in cyberspace? For sure, not the state institutions alone. In cyberspace, they are more dependent on other actors than when securing the citizens from more traditional threats. Threats and countermeasures in cyberspace are not so obvious to citizens, hence the trust becomes very important in this sentence. So, easy if the security sector governance is not complicated enough already with the traditional actors and stakeholders. There is a number of challenges which are posed also by the cybersecurity. First of all, there is much wider map of actors which are involved: the tech community, stronger influence on private sector, etc. And also there is a significant shift of roles and responsibilities from the classical security governance model. Basically, traditionally, state institutions that are the key providers of security, they are in one way or another subordinated. There are clear chains of command and control. There are clear accountability mechanisms. They're defined by legal framework, also by practice. But the internet is very specific, as you know. Internet governance is very much specific. It requires much more technical knowledge, and most of the infrastructure is provided, maintained, and secured by private companies. Users are also the main recipients of content and distributors. So all these non-state actors have a claim in contributing to internet governance, and no common governance model has been agreed upon. So can a state establish not only efficient security, but also checks and balances to ensure those empowered with intrusive measures do not misuse them? What we're witnessing is that even the states with capacities as those of the United States cannot guarantee perfectly safe cyberspace, or cannot convince their citizens that state services use proportional force or intrusion in their private affairs for doing so. States who want to ensure cybersecurity have to work much closely with non-state actors, and new models of cooperation have to be developed, as we have also seen from the example from Albania. Just a small reference to DCAF. I mean, we have a bit of expertise in working in public-private partnerships, so we are contributing to these discussions. The further element of complexity of good governance in cybersecurity is the international nature of web, the international nature of cybercrime, which imposes the need for more harmonization of legal frameworks internationally, but also of more operational cooperation of security providers. But also there is one more aspect that I would like to highlight, which is the need for a new system of accountability in the cyber security sector. So will the parliament have to oversee the activities of internet service providers who block illegal websites, like MPs are now overseeing the work of police who stops criminals in the street? Is this proportionate? Is this feasible practically? Now I'm gonna continue elaborating by using examples of Serbia. And first, I will just give you a very general introduction where security sector reform in Serbia today. So basically, Serbian institutions and society have undergone what is called the first generation of reforms. So you can, in principle, consider that institutions are in place. Serbia is functional democracy, of course, with some transitional challenges. Some of the key challenges, in my view, the Serbian security sector would be the lack of effective cross-departmental coordination, limited resources, and also, in addition to all traditional stakeholders, all the new stakeholders in the cybersecurity arena, also important stakeholder is the EU, which is now providing for all upcoming reforms in security sector in Serbia, or the EU negotiation process as such. The negotiation is composed, I'm sure many of you know, of various action plans in various. There is the roadmap for reforms for which Serbian state administration will be accountable and the society, but also to the EU institutions. And as a big player, it's also interesting to look at how the EU is seeing security sector reform and cybersecurity in Serbia, and the EU Progress Report is tackling cybersecurity issues in the area of cybercrime, also in the area of protection of personal data, and also it has a reference to internet freedoms. The first one, cybercrime, is tackled in Chapter 24 negotiations, which is Justice and Home Affairs, and the second two in Chapter 23, which is Justice and Fundamental Rights. So, what are the existing capacities in Serbia? Serbia has cybercrime fighting institutions. There are special units in the Ministry of Interior, Police, and the Prosecutor's Office, and colleague will speak more about it tomorrow. They are understaffed and under-equipped, but they are very effective, and they're getting credits for their work also from outside of Serbia. There are also some cyber defense capacities in the MOD military, capacities in the government secretariat, some of the biggest state-owned companies, which actually own most of the information infrastructure, academic community, private companies, etc. But there are also things missing in Serbia, challenges. In Serbia, we don't have a national threat, so there are incident response units in various places in the government, but there is no national group institution. There is no strategic coordination and planning on national level, and the outlook is such that in future we can expect more e-government services being delivered in Serbia. Those are the official plans and announcements of Serbian government. There is more and more online business, more trading, more banking, and this means that there are more threats, consequentially, and increased vulnerability of critical systems and infrastructure. So, if we want to build credible cybersecurity in Serbia, and to do so, I would argue that we need to look both at effectiveness and accountability. And in the middle of both of these concepts, key elements are informed and empowered citizens. So, looking at the awareness programs aimed at this critical element in Serbia, I have made distinction when trying to provide overview of state of affairs in what I see as four critical groups: citizens, business sector, the government employees, and CSOs. So when it comes to citizens, there are some good examples of awareness raising campaigns, mostly focused targeting children and parents. But although they are achieving some results, it is notable that these campaigns are not constant. They are, I would argue, not sustainable. What I see as critically lacking is the much stronger role of Ministry of Education, and I'm glad that we have seen that in Albania there are already interventions in the curriculum, which is also, I believe, the right way to do it. But I would argue that the age level would have to be lower. But okay, that's a different issue. Something which I see lacking in Serbia. So the Ministry of Education is involved in some of the campaigns, but not in a more strategic manner. Also, what I see is lacking are campaigns targeting other groups of citizens. For example, older generation of people who are, because of their work requirements, asked to use computers. They have, for the first time in their life, in 40s or 50s, seen a computer, but they are working in a position maybe where they could be an easy target or could in a way influence one or another. So the next important group is business. In Serbia, we have a situation where big companies, big private companies, are most often initiators and they're sponsors and they're engaged in awareness campaigns for citizens. But what I see is lacking are awareness raising campaigns for small enterprises, which compose good part of Serbian business sector, private sector, and in what we see as prognosis for trends in business development is something that will be much bigger part of the business sector. So although the government does control legality of software used by the companies, there is not much advice on how to increase security in cyberspace or responsibility for protection. Furthermore, there is no structured communication platform between the government and the private sector, not only for incident reporting, but also to give the private sector a chance to be involved in the policy-making processes, which again is something which we've seen that has been captured by the Albanian CERT and has been now working. The next group are the government employees, and again, I have singled out this particular group because I believe they are more important than the private sector because they directly affect the creation and implementation of government policies, among other in cybersecurity area. Again, to my knowledge, there is no structured coordination of available human and technical resources of different governmental institutions. Even the information exchange among different governmental departments and agencies on cybersecurity issues, to my knowledge, this exchange goes on the level of personal acquaintances, and it is not structured. It is not something which is systematic. When it comes to security organizations, I would just like to stress that, for example, human rights watchers are aware seem to be aware of cybersecurity issues in Serbia, and they seem to react. We have a good recent example, I think from December, when we had the Share Foundation, a non-governmental organization, who has noticed that one of government's agencies has put sensitive personal data of 5 million Serbian citizens online without any protection. And they have acted upon this, and they have acted in a very reasonable manner. They have informed the authorities that there was reaction to remove this content, and then the whole thing was publicized. And very briefly, there was a debate in public about are we secure enough in cyberspace, and this is something which again comes periodically from human rights watchers, be it NGOs or institutions like Ombudsman, or more even the Commissioner for Protection of Personal Data and Free Access to Information. So, as I said, the Serbian paradigm for security sector reforms in Serbia is determined by the report, and although the EU is not specifically saying that the report human effectiveness and accountability in cybersecurity, you can see from here that if you see where these principles apply, that the EU does indeed expect Serbia to apply good governance principles to cybersecurity area as well as any other area of governance. And at the end, these would be the four key things in both of these areas that I would put as recommendations for going forward. And I would not conclude by saying that Serbia is behind other countries of the region in developing its cybersecurity capacities, which we could say. However, it needs to round up its existing capacities into an effective and accountable cybersecurity system. Now we're witnessing that there are some movements in this direction among Serbian institutions and society, and hopefully they will become more apparent and articulate, leading to improved legal and institutional framework in, we hope, already 2015. So the DCAF is one of many actors standing ready to support this development. And just for the end, I would like to share with you some of the work which DCAF has been done in the area of cybersecurity and which could be relevant for the region. So we have, and I've seen that there are Russian translations, if I'm not wrong, of one of these papers available in front, but there are two more. Also we've been supporting thematic panels at the Belgrade Security Forum for 3 years in a row. We organized a regional seminar last year in Serbia on cybersecurity for young professionals from security sector reform from countries from the region. And we also were engaged in some other activities. In 2015, we are supporting capacity building in the Serbian Ministry of Interior, strategic mapping also in that area, and we are going to support in second half of the year Serbian Parliament in organizing a public hearing on this topic, hopefully contributing to better awareness of the whole society on the cybersecurity. With this, I will finish. I hope I was not too much over time. So.
Lucky you started earlier.
Yeah, like I speak fast. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Milan, for being brave enough to speak about reforms, the word that everybody hates here at Balkan, and for being forensically precise on the challenges that we are facing. I'm very happy that well, this public hearing in the Parliament, I believe it will keep us informed. That might be an interesting example and a positive one, yes. Thank you. So, Valentina, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I was last minute invited to be present here on this floor, and I was firstly wondering how should I present myself, not to be boring, especially that I'm coming from the security sector. But at least I decided to speak about my own experience, like a user of the information systems, digitalization and everything. And I tried to look for keywords for this panel, especially there is a rather provocative Balkans, awareness, rest of the world, and security. I was happy to start with my job within all of the security institution in the Republic of Macedonia. Actually, I started working for the counterintelligence service in 1991, which is not very celebrated period for the Balkans. And I've been one of the first users of the computers within the Ministry of Interior this period of time. And in my division existed 3 computers only. We've been 3 of my colleagues rather young, and the server was with the secretary post to us. And we haven't idea at this time that there is kind of network, because the secretary, when she went on her break, she just turned off her computer, and our 3 computers went down completely, lost information, and I don't know, very dramatic start of my career in this, like a user of information systems. After that, Windows come, and we just left all of these windows open, and colleagues from the technical support, now said InfoSec, they completely desperate with all of these women working in this division who just left the windows open. But 25 or more, 30 years after that, we just changed the approach. We just don't have to leave the door open now. I'm not expert in this area. I used to work as an analyst long period of time, and then like a user of the rather sensitive networks and systems, I learned, and now from my position of now already policymaker and law enforcement in the framework of our law on classified information, I learned just few highlights that the security comprehensive approach in the cyber security and defense
it's a rather reversible process. That means you should always follow new technologies, legal support, and of course personnel security. Long classified information is actually based on a few factors of security to protect the classified information that are important for the country. And at the end of the day, I don't want to put the topic of this reunion here aside, but at the end, personnel security must be always put on this platform to protect everything we want to protect. I have my credibility to speak about the protection of classified information, the security sector. I'm not very much involved in the private sector. We are just, from our position, authority to raise the awareness in the private sector who touch the matter of the classified information that became users of classified information. And we are trying to, via trainings and other to make them sensitive to obey the rules. At the end of the day, we must obey the rules, and that's the main postulate of our law that we are enforcing in the Republic of Macedonia, and that is actually the way to put realistic and to have some results. It's the experience shown that you must be in touch, you must raise their awareness by different methods, not just pressure and just boring papers, because the topic of the security of the information systems is always attached with a lot of papyrology, and people don't like it. I will use your data about how many people in Serbia are not protected on their everyday use of internet.
5 million were
5 million. Those are ordinary people which are working at the security institution also. People, my personal perception, and the people last 10 years maybe are pretty much negligent about their commodity with the internet. We as an authority, as a national security authority to take classified information, we must have in mind always that ordinary people works in the security institution, and we must find the right way, the right approach to put them in condition, because as our previous panelists said, people became nervous and felt them stupid when they must do something about which cyber is. Many people, they are sure what cybersecurity actually is. But there is a lot of people who are working in the security institution with classified information that we must disclose actually this synonymous of something that is from the outer space. Our efforts to keep classified information in the Republic of Macedonia secure are based on a lot of harmonization at first, as I said, of the legislation. Since this directorate was established, it's 2004 with the law on classified information, which is completely harmonized with the NATO and EU directives concerning protection of classified information. We have started to harmonize and to adopt all of the national standards with the NATO and EU standards. And till now, the reports from the inspection of NATO and EU Office of Security show good results. It means that started with the legislation and a lot of training and efforts, we succeed to adopt NATO and EU standards as a national standard concerning protection of classified information. The thing that I already mentioned, the complexity of the measures that are keeping classified information protected. To be on the topic, our InfoSec Information Security Department, which is authority, the only and the unique authority in the Republic of Macedonia to protect classified information that exchange in the information systems. They try to work on the terrain. It means with the handlers of classified information and the people's, I don't know what they say, administrators and operators on the system, to be on contact with them and with our network of our security officers in this networks, and we realized that the everyday communication, the flexible exchange of their professional experience, it's one of the most important things to reach our goals, and that's to keep protected classified information in the Republic of Macedonia. We detected by our job the areas that are rather sensitive topic, and that is few categories of users of classified are necessary to be kept aware, not to raise awareness. It's an everyday job for us, but to keep them aware means briefing, rebriefings, reunions, everyday resolving of the different problems they are facing with, and we provide generic and specific trainings for them. For example, for me, with my security background and like the experience shown, one of the most vulnerable categories from the attacks are, of course, diplomats. People who are working in the diplomatic and in the diplomacy and the mission abroad. For example, how legislation is following the specific. Few years ago, when the new law on foreign affairs was prepared, working on the provisions in the law, which oblige people who are working within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to possess security clearance. What actually does it mean? That means that people who are working for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs must very much take care of their treatment with the classified information, national and foreign affairs, with, exchange with partners, etc. And those people are coming in our directorate for the preparatory program. I'm one of the personnel who is working with these people. You will never believe how people like to be rebriefed about the boring things like don't bring with you your USB where the information of sensitive nature. Just like example. I'm trying to be, I don't know, interesting for the others from my personal practice and how the in our area things are working. Because you'll never believe that how many different stories of leakage of classified information exist just for the from the fact that people lost the moment. They just left their laptop in the car on the back seat to go out from the car and buy some, I don't know, chewing gums or cigarettes, and when they come back in the car, laptop is gone. And the story like this are not a story for the little kids to afraid future diplomats or people who are working with classified information. It's just the practice. I will try now to rely this topic, and that's as we learn via a lot of exchange of experience with our NATO and EU partners, with our regional partners, and that's, I'm speaking about the classified information. It's always must be multiply protection of the classified information, whatever the form of their in where they are, but people must be in condition and must be informed on the proper way. I'm speaking now from as I start with my discussion that we must take care for users on the proper way, not to feel nervous and stupid, but we must find a way to, because for me as a parent, as a in the different software our children on their mobiles. Even I'm working with the security sector all of my career. I'm still not deviated on this to track my little children, my teenagers, or my husband at the end with different software. So it might be holistic approach. It's from the different area people come. We must find a way, the proper way to mix all of this human and information human and technique to make our life more pleasant. Not to live in some kind of paranoia that some things will happen. It was maybe will not sell some security approach, but
That was actually what we needed. That was actually what we needed.
maybe it's just few highlights to think about.
Thank you very much, Valentina, for giving a really personal way of the story, because whenever we think about cybersecurity, it's usually the technical stuff, something that's away from us. You actually give us a pretty good perspective, both as professional as a security sector, both as person, mother, woman, wife, human being. You gave more human dimension to our cybersecurity complexity. Thank you very much for that. And on the very end, we have just a little time to Predrag. He's always precise, so I believe that he will find enough time for himself. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll try to be very short and very brief indeed. But however, before I just started, I was actually very pleased because what is happening in the countries around us, what's happening here. I would like to share a very brief story with you. 3 years ago, actually, while I was studying in Estonia cybersecurity, I came in Macedonia to do some bureaucracy papers, and it was around 10 o'clock. I went to an office, government office, of course, to do some bureaucracy. We love papers, we just love. But on the other hand, Estonia doesn't love it. They own everything to online. So anyway, I went to this office, and I went to the door. No one answers. On a second time, no one answers. And a third time, no one answers. So I tried to open the door. The door was open, unlocked. But I entered to the door. I see 5 computers. No room. 5 computers unlocked. In the front of the computers, there was documents which they were working before. And I always have with me a hard drive or USB stick. So I was thinking for just a moment, what can I do with all this data? So they were logged into the central computer in Macedonia. So I was like thinking, shall I do it or shall I not? So just in the end. But then after I get out, after 5 minutes, person came in, they were really helpful, answered all my questions, but everything was fine. Then afterwards, I realized while I was going home, I was like, why people are actually so careless about security? So they don't care about personal information, why they shall care about others' information. So this is what actually, and my master thesis project from Estonia has started it. And for this, I would like to be very brief and shortly emphasizing 3 fundamental questions, which are actually very important to understand actually why cybersecurity and security in general it is. And then when we hear cyber, I've heard sometimes people say, what's cybersecurity? And even we have raised this question in this panel. What is actually cybersecurity? What does it in general takes in? I know US like cyber, and always they say, we like cyber because cyber is sexy, and it's true. Nevertheless, so I will try to very briefly show you what is actually, from my perspective of view, what is the difference between cybersecurity and IT security indeed. Then I would like to emphasize the importance of how we can raise the awareness level, tailored to national level. So we don't raise only the awareness level on the government and the public sector. We have to take upon actions of end users as the children and every generations as well, every age. And also, indeed, to take approach of multi-stakeholder approach, which we already and we always mislead it. Last but not least, I would like to make, we have to actually make a bridge between neighboring countries in the region, and of course to create a one trusted community. This community will collaborate and talk and discuss about. Example, Serbia has no CERT, has no cybersecurity framework. Unfortunately, Macedonia as well, we're in the process of working, but still we do not have official. So without any further ado, first, what is actually the difference between IT security and cybersecurity? Cybersecurity in general is protecting the information from a wide range of threats, and in order to have security into the business, to have a business continuity. So it is to reduce the business damages and to actually return and to maximize the return on investment and the business opportunities. Likewise, where on the other hand, cybersecurity is to protecting information and communication technology systems into the national level, and critical infrastructure and critical business risks to that level, and the protection of information system is essential to this organization. For critical information infrastructure and critical infrastructure indeed on accepted level. In other words, security objectives determine information security is an organizational business process, so it means for one organization, for one business. However, in cybersecurity is for actually entire state. Emphasizing the state may have different or complementary interests comparing to, of course, organizational business interests. Some organizations can have different, being private, but also have a government infrastructure implied on it. On the other hand, handling cybersecurity problems on the national level is considered on the national level and also on the international level. When we talk about IT security, we say we implement the IT security on our organization regularity by data protection law and taking actions of how to protect their own documents. They protect the integrity of the organization. Information security goals we have to make clear that are confidentiality, availability, and integrity, where on cybersecurity, apart from information security objectives, we also have non-repudiation and authentication from standpoint of information security and criticality of critical information infrastructure and critical infrastructure. Furthermore, turning to awareness, I would like to share the report that we have researched, and it started in 2012. And actually, the awareness level on the Western Balkans region. So we had mostly from the Balkan regions. The survey was done through universities, so mostly technical universities. So we can know that even it's higher, so technical students are more aware about security. However, it was varied, and then later on, after 2 years, which is last year, we have actually the awareness level in the Balkan region is boosting, so it's raising. So we have the progress of 18%. So for 2 years, let's consider it better something than nothing. Nevertheless, we see that Albania, Serbia, and other Asian countries are becoming more aware and are organizing different events, communities, also are organizing workshops to boost the awareness. And the brighter side, actually, Macedonia is not back from other countries as well. We do have such programs. We have safe buses, awareness safe buses, which you will going around entire Macedonia and going to schools and teach children at the elementary schools how to be aware with whom to contact on Facebook, and actually professors and schools, elementary schools, they think the best way to communicate with the students is through social networks. So actually, it's a really great issue that actually that's not the proper way, because those kids are not aware with whom they talk. And you should tell them that it's good to have Facebook, but only you talk with a group of people, only, or when you talk with in front of your mom, dad, and so on. And another point that I would like to also mention is that in the Balkan region, we have seen in the past 2 years a couple of universities pursuing cybersecurity specialized programs, such as countries of Slovenia, Croatia, Montenegro, Albania, Macedonia, they started it last year, Bulgaria, and so on. So this is one way to go a step forward, of course. And my last point is when we talk about trusted community and trusted regions and trusted group. This is actually what we will have next day, a very nice topic from a friend of mine from Estonia. We will see and we will learn actually what does link means, what does actually people, community do, and how they share knowledge and how they on regular basis meet and discuss such important and crucial topics. As I promised, I was brief, so thank you.
This was actually a pretty light panel. We have told many things in a short period, and I'll try to summarize it very short. So we had Albanian experience that is very positive, and surprisingly for me, I believe this is a good example for the region, and that it can be inspiring capital for the other countries. And then we had the Milan Security Sector Forum, and it also gave me a positive intro. I believe that this is the initial steps are the most important, and I believe that this will be a great base for moving forward. Then we had Valentina, and she gave us pretty personal dimension and human dimension to technical security. And then we had Predrag, who discussed about everything pretty briefly, but he actually touched the most the crucial factors of the cybersecurity awareness. What can I is that we have all agreed that whole initiative and that we need a holistic approach. And I believe that the general consensus is approached. Our colleagues that follows can provide also some solutions and some ideas how to improve the cybersecurity awareness and provide resources for. Anybody?
Yes, but here.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes, sorry.
Thank you for this nice introductory remarks, and I will be happy if Predrag agrees to summarize the possible awareness direction by means of the Balkans, because I just take a look at one Raytheon study about more than 1,000 experts about the negatives. It's still not public about in the cybersecurity area. I'll show you a graphic tomorrow, but
I will be pleased to see it, definitely.
I'll be happy to try to make added value from the Balkans perspective, because what I see is cyberbullying, the human factor, the few pillars of the DCAF approach, and also the privacy issue, medicine, and I'll show you tomorrow the approach that the largest brothers of us are trying to summarize. What I can share from our side is that we also try to address the new technologies. I mean, the emerging one and the big scandals around this, the cloud services. So it's yours. Thank you.
Thank you for a good question, though. But I will be very honest with you. If I start expressing what else actually the Balkan is facing, I will actually point to the panel which is leading this tomorrow. Heads of cybercrime units from the region will discuss actually what kind of real cases they have had in the past. But the ones that you mentioned, indeed, those are the most common. And certainly, unfortunately, we had a very stressful case last week where some of the foreigner agencies have kidnapped one girl from Serbia by looking and finding her by the face recognition of the face. So I would leave this discussion more tomorrow's session. I know tomorrow everyone will be sleepy, but believe me, it will be quite an interesting topic. So, thank you.
We now get a scratch that all the awareness is rising that we have noticed so far. Criminality is also rising in many different concepts. The misuse, I mean, the human mind is so talented for finding approaches in misusing rather than using, that's incredible. So it looks like, I mean, I'm not sure if you agree with me, that this is like a never-ending hurdle. So how would we deal with this issue as a follow-up to what Vladimir just asked?
Is there anything and for anything?
Well, that comes like Macedonian integration process.
I mean, I would like that the way things are moving, as you mentioned, security challenges. I mean, there are so many aspects. I'm sure they will be discussed in coming days. The way we see them, the way we are seen. So it's important to keep this in mind. I would just add that to the discussion. So whatever we're saying here is not that. I mean, it's so a moving target. Thank you.
Thank you, Milan. We have left, actually we're on time, but we still have a couple of minutes for, yeah, please.
What is the level of cooperation between Balkan countries, let's say Macedonia, Serbia, and surrounding countries, cooperation to build their strategy? Keeping in mind that some countries with big budget like UK and others were taking serious cybersecurity strategy. How about the
understood the question, but I think it was like what's going on with national strategies on cybersecurity in Balkans, right?
Corporation. Corporation.
Okay, cooperation.
Corporation.
Okay, it's not. Yeah, thank you. What we've been doing so far, besides being present, I mean, I noticed today here that 4 or 5 are familiar to me, and that is the good news because it means that even in the Balkan, we've met each other, and we know that we can call some other service if something happens, and that has happened to our agency as well. So we are very active in these initiations, but we don't have an official way of cooperation or sharing. So it's just a matter of will, and that's cooperation. it's on a real basis. So we were trying to do that as well.
Speaking about the cooperation of the NSA from the region, I can say that I see also, but there is a very good cooperation, especially that some of the countries went forward in EU and NATO integration, but they didn't forget their friends and neighbors from the region. We as a candidate country and partner in NATO, cooperation formats for cooperation and the regular basis, and we are very satisfied from our dear friends from the region. They who went forward, as I said, but they are unselfish, share their information and experiences, and they are always supportive in different initiatives within the Euro-Atlantic that I mean, I can say this is a successful story in the cooperation with an NSAs in the region.
I'd like to a different angle, maybe a different angle. I mean, definitely your question is revolving around strategies, as I see it in cybersecurity strategies. So there is need for strategic thinking in cybersecurity, for security in cyberspace in the region. That goes for all of our countries, regardless of their size, regardless of, I mean, we're more or less in similar stages of development, more or less. And we could, in that sense, learn from each other. Yes, resources are critical, but I believe that for an issue, I mean, we have incidents all the time in cyberspace, so that means that we should devote some resources to tackle them. But when it comes to choosing which strategy, I mean, in Serbia we have hundreds of strategies, wonderful strategies, different models, Western, Eastern, some devised by our own people, but very few of them are actually implemented. And where I see, and what I'm looking at to get from this conference personally is more experience in how do you implement implement strategies and policies in cybersecurity area. And what I see is crucial for regional cooperation is exactly that topic, the implementation experiences from implementation. We can indeed learn that much more from our friends who are a couple of steps ahead. And have more experience and have gone a longer way in that sense, but we need to catch up, and we can do that by seeing how they made the steps and exactly which model that could be of secondary importance, or ideally that would be determined on the experience of implementation of that model. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have something more, or we can conclude the panel? Go for dinner, I guess. That's the part everybody likes. So thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. I believe that we came up with positive energy and a common consensus that is essential for this platform for the discussions tomorrow. Now, the plan is that we meet at the hotel in exactly 47 minutes, which means that 8 p.m. we are leaving for the dinner. And we have a walking tour, I guess. That is a great part of the whole story here, because you can see also the old town. We have some time for you, and then we see each other 8 p.m. outside. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nicht direkt generic